Happy New Year and welcome back. If you've been on YouTube lately, you have definitely seen a slew of videos that are year in review. So I figured, what a better time to do one myself. So we're going to talk about what has happened in 2022 as well as what is going to happen in 2023. A lot of exciting things are going to happen with the channel, so please sit back, relax, stay tuned. Well, let's start with 2022, and hyperinflation did not help. So of course, I really hadn't been buying cars. In fact, for the last 2 years, I have not bought as many cars as I would like. Now, that doesn't mean that I gave up or didn't want to. It's just that car prices got to a point that I did not think that they were worth what people were paying for them. At the end of 22, and now in 23, we're starting to see prices come down. And if you've watched some of my latest videos, you've noticed that I just bought the BMW Z3, which we're going to talk about, and the Porsche Cayman. So cars are starting to come down in price. I'm starting to see the values back to where at least I think that they're worth the money, so I am looking at buying some new cars. Let's talk about that for a second. There are three manufacturers, let's say, that I'm looking at for the future, and as soon as I can get one at a good price, I'm ready to pull the trigger. The first one on there is a Gen 4 ACR Dodge Viper. I've always wanted one. I should have bought one when they were about $65,000 to $75,000. Right now they're about $100 to $150 depending on the make, model, and mileage of them. I mean, they've gotten ridiculous. I'm not willing to do that. However, tonight I did see one that was getting closer to my price range, so it made me very happy. Next on that list, I'm just going to say McLaren as a whole. I know that they are the least reliable cars and that I really should stay away, but there is something about a McLaren that I just think is beautiful. So we've got the MP4. I know that that is the cheapest one that you can get and probably in the price range that I'm ready to pull a trigger on. However, I just don't know if it's a good idea. There are so many problems with that model that I think I should stay away. And the 570s have come down. So if I could get a 570 down a little bit more, I think it would be a better buy for me. It's a newer car, it's a better car, a little more reliable, and I think I would have fun with it. And of course, if you watch my Cayman video, you know that I already want a 911. Now, preferably, I would like a turbo or a GT3. Prices are still high on those, and for some reason, Porsches are just holding value like crazy. So, do I think that I'm going to get one of those within the next year? Probably not. If I do, I'll be elated, totally happy, not going to complain at all. But those are the cars that I'm looking at, and I think if they come down a little bit, they will be in the price range that I at least think they'll hold their value for a while. Now, I do have a question for you guys. If you could buy any car, what would it be? I'm just curious to see what you're thinking, or if you want to give me suggestions. I always love seeing those. All my friends pick on me still about the worst decision I made, which was not buying an XJ220 when they were under $100,000, and now they're $500,000 to $700,000. So go ahead and pick on me for not buying what I should at the time. Tell me what I should buy so I'll actually make the right decision. All right, now that I'm all excited about the cars that I want to get, let's go and do a recap of 2022. Now, like I was saying, there's not much that has really changed because, well, the economy was terrible, so I wasn't really buying or selling cars. I did sell 2 cars, one being the Aston Martin Vantage and the other my Mercedes GLK. So I figured what I'd do is kind of go through a list of what I have in the garage, things that need to be done to them, items that you will probably be seeing on future videos, as well as cars that I'm looking to unload. I know, I should have unloaded these when the prices were high. Why do I stick with the cars that I have? There's just an attachment. They're my babies. All right, let's start. My 97 blue and white Viper, never going anywhere. Somebody would have to offer me a ridiculous amount of money for it, and I just don't want to sell it. Now, I do have a 1996 Mustang Cobra convertible that has been with me since I was probably 18, somewhere in there, and she's needs a new paint job to say the least. Now, drivetrain running, it is absolutely my favorite car to drive. It sounds great. Yes, it has Flowmasters on a Mustang. You really can't beat it. It is a wonderful car. It just needs some TLC. It's been used. I had it in high school and then in college. I used it as a car, so the clear coat it's a Ford paint job, so clear coat's completely gone. Interior's not in bad shape. There are no cracks on the dash, no cracks inside. The seats are obviously worn because they were used, but with a little bit of money, I think that it could be a really nice car. They just don't go for a lot. They started to appreciate at the end and now are holding, so we'll see what happens. I would not mind selling it if I got the right price for it. I also have a 97 Celine as well as a 2003 Celine. I would think about selling one of those. I'm not going to sell both, and I'm not sure which one I would want to sell. It would really depend on somebody wanting a specific one of those Celines and offering the right amount, as it goes with any car that I'm trying to sell, right? I have the 2000 Cobra R, which is not going anywhere. I did have somebody offer me $85,000 for it. I did contemplate it, send him a lot of information, and that deal fell through. So I think that is my sign to keep that car. I've always wanted it. It's my favorite Mustang of all time, so that one is staying. I have my NSX. The NSX is funny that we talk about because the NSX is such a great car and I don't drive it enough, so this year one of my resolutions is to use the NSX more. It needs a few little TLC things, such as the spark plugs need to be changed on it. So I just really need to start driving it and using it. I would love to put a new stereo system in it. I think that that would make it a little more modern. The car is just so beautiful. It's like a rolling piece of art and I want to use it more. My Jaguar XKR is a beautiful car, but it is time for that to go. It does need both O2 sensors replaced on it, so once I get those replaced, I will put that back up on the market. The funny thing about the Jaguars, even during hyperinflation, they stayed about the same. They have never gone up, they have never really gone down. They're just one of those cars that I have got to tell you, you buy because you love, you don't buy because you think you're going to make money or lose money on it. I have my Indy car, of course. I've got my stock car. I've got the Model A over here. None of those are going anywhere. I have my Bentley that is doing absolutely wonderful. I still drive that thing all the time. It's my favorite driving car, so I don't have any reason to sell it. I've got the Ferrari F430 staying in the fleet. Doesn't need anything. It has been, knock on wood, and I'm sure after I say this I'm going to regret it, a great car to own. I've got my Corvette Z06, and I do want to talk about the Corvette Z06 as well as my Humvee, because Hagerty just put out their top 10 or top 20, and both of those are on it, and I think that they are right. The prices of those were low. The Humvee was low. The H1 Hummer was not really low. They're talking more about the H1. I think that if you have a Humvee that is titled, and that's the big thing, it has to have a title. I think that those are two cars that you can definitely make money on even now. Even with their hyperinflation prices, I think that those will still go up just because they're still such a great deal. I've got some motorcycles in there. I've got the CB125, I've got the BMW R1200 and the Ducati 848. Let's see, what else do I have? I've got my F250, which I will be doing a video on how to do the fuel filter replacement for that. It needs to be done. That truck has been so good and I've neglected it so much. I think you will start to see some more videos on that throughout the year, hopefully so. She needs some TLC, she needs some love, but still a great car. The Porsche Cayman, nothing really to do to it. I do want to install a new stereo on it, and that's about it. I've got my BMW Z4, which goes into my 2023 plans, and we'll get to that in a second. And then I have my Land Rover LR3, which is basically a child carrier so that I can take my daughter wherever she needs to go. You have to have something, at least one car that is a four-door, and if I'm looking on this list, it's amazing that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 vehicles on there, and only one of them has four doors. That is a travesty. I think we need to change that. I don't know what I would get if I was going to get a four-door vehicle. Porsche has their, what is it, the Panamera. I could do also a Cayenne. I was also looking at some of the earlier G-Wagons. There's just something about a four-door vehicle that does not allow me to love it like I love some of these cars. So whatever happens, happens. But that is a rundown of 2022 and what I still have in the garage. Hopefully that's going to change quite a bit in 2023 now that I can buy, sell, and trade some vehicles. Okay, so 2022 is over, 2023 is here. Let's talk about some of the things that are going to go on in the shop. The first thing is the Z4, which I mentioned earlier. We are going to take that to at least a couple of track days this year. Now, they're just going to be HPDE, which is the high performance driving experiences. I'm not going to actually go out there and be a competitive racer, but I do want to get some track time. It's one of the things I ultimately miss. So we're going to do some of those, and that's a big thing. CMP in South Carolina is a great smaller track. I think that car will be perfect for it. So I'll get to go out there, throw it around, and it's one of those cars that obviously you've seen some of the videos on it. We call it Project Lazarus for a reason, and that's because it was pretty much left on the side of the road, abandoned and dead. We brought it back. It has done phenomenal. I mean, I am very impressed with how well this car revived. So I think the only thing to do is to at least send her off with some fun, right? So we're going to take her to some CMP track days. I've also talked to Paul, who has a Noble and does a lot of racing, and he's going to let me know when he's going to be out there as well. So I might get Paul to drive it so that he can tell me what he thinks about it. It is automatic. I'm happy about that. Most people aren't. I'm not a professional racer, so for me, it's more about focusing on the line, the braking, and making sure that I drive the car well. The good thing is, if a catastrophic thing happens on the track, that car is not worth a whole lot of money. So it's the best car out of every car that I have to bring to the track. Next, Amelia Island. Never been, always wanted to go. And I have an opportunity to go to Amelia Island this year with Car Cave here in Aiken. So I am definitely taking Chris up on that. We're going to go out to Amelia Island and experience it. All right, so Amelia Island, definitely one of the things that I'm looking forward to. One of the later things in 2023, around November, is the Formula One race in Vegas. If you know me at all, you know Vegas is one of my absolute favorite places, and I've already got the room booked. I am still trying to get tickets. So if you have any tickets or know a way to get some tickets, please leave me a comment below. Any way to get in is gonna help one way or the other. If I have to spend $2,000 for that ticket, I will. I don't want to. Please don't make me. Someone out there, help. Help. That's all I can say. So that's what I have planned to go to for 2023, but here are some of the things that I expect to have on the channel. There's going to be a lot more information about the Humvee. I keep getting questions. It's such a great vehicle that nothing has really broken, so I haven't done that, but it needs to be on the channel more, so the Humvee is on there. The Bentley will be back again on the channel. People love that I did the batteries, I do the oil change, I did the air strut. Now I have a bushing that is bad on the front driver's side, and yes, I'm looking at the Bentley right now and it's kind of crying at me. So if I go over a bump, you hear like a cling, clank, whatever. It needs some sort of bushing, rubber isolator. I need to put it on the lift. I'll video all of that so that you guys can see it. The Bentleys always get a bad rap on YouTube, so I'm trying to show that they're not as bad as some of the YouTubers make them out to be. Some of those YouTubers also bought ones that should have been parted out. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's move on. Obviously, we need to do more on items in the shop that you guys should really know about. One of those I've got coming up. I don't want to tell you what it is because I don't want to spoil it. Also, shop items, things that will make your life better. I know that in the past we did the LED lighting. I think we need to do a little bit more with that. Some of the storage units that I have in the shop, I need to revisit because those are things that you can still get at a great deal and they make your workspace and your life so much better. So those are some of the things in the video world that you can expect. I also want to ask you, what do you want to see? Especially if you're one of my subscribers. What would you like to see on the channel that will help you come back more and more? So if you could leave me comments on all of those items below, I'd really appreciate it. Okay, so that's a review of 2022 and a peek into the future of my channel in 2023. Hopefully you like this video and it gives you a little idea of what's going on in my mindset. Please leave any comments that you like below. Like I said, I try to get back to all of them. Also, if you have any suggestions on anything we talked about, and if we didn't talk about it, please leave those below as well. All right, guys, you know the deal by now. Like, subscribe, share. We'll catch you next time.